Throughout this year's General Assembly, we have been honored to be in the midst of some very influential politicians that we can call brothers in Lambda Chi Alpha. Today, I would like to introduce Kevin Brady, a U.S. Representative for the 8th Congressional District of Texas. Brady is an initiate of the Alpha Gamma chapter at the University of South Dakota. In Congress, Brother Brady currently serves in several key positions, including the top Republican on the Joint Economic Committee and a senior member of the House Ways and Means Committee, which is arguably the most powerful committee on the Hill, with jurisdiction over taxes, health care, Social Security, Medicare, and international trade and welfare. Brady began his political career in 1990 as a member of the Texas House of Representatives. 6 years later, he was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, and he hasn't looked back since. Since 1996, he has been re-elected 6 times. A recipient of Lambda Chi Alpha's Order of Achievement in 2001, Congressman Brady has remained true to his fraternity. In 2009, he spoke to Lambda Chi Alpha undergraduates and alumni at our centennial celebration in Indianapolis. We are proud to have Congressman Brady join us once again at the 54th Assembly of the General Assembly. Guests and brothers, please welcome to the stage our brother, Congressman Brady.
Tom, thank you very much for that wonderful introduction, and it's an honor to be here. I needed my Lambda Chi fix, and I decided I would get it in the best location in America. I first want to thank our Grand High Alpha, Drew Hunter, for leading our fraternity with such integrity and enthusiasm. Thank you for all your service. To Bill Farkas, I've had the pleasure of seeing Bill work in Washington alongside the other national Greek organizations, and he stands head and shoulders above them. I'm always so proud of the way he represents us, and so grateful that he introduced me to the True Brother Initiative. Bill, thank you for your service. I want to tell you tonight, there are such great speakers at these assemblies. I love the Centennial, the great lineup for this weekend as well. But you're going to have a real treat tonight. Congressman Kevin Yoder will be speaking to you. He is part of a historic freshman class in Congress that's already leaving its mark in a positive way. He's quickly emerged as one of the leaders. He's thoughtful, articulate, hardworking. He's a brother in the bond. And most importantly, he confirms one of my strongly held beliefs, which is you can never have too many Kevins in Congress. I want to give a shout out to my brothers from the University of South Dakota, Tyler Tordson, the president, and all the members who are here today. It is a chapter that is doing great things and making itself known and rebuilding itself with a solid core foundation of men and principles. Tyler, to all of you, thank you and congratulations for what you're doing. And I have to give a shout out to all my Texas chapters, including that in my 8th Congressional District from Sam Houston State University as well. As I said, it's an honor here. I'm gonna, in the next 9 minutes, I just want to make 3 quick points. Now, Dr. Smith said, as a university professor, he thinks in blocks of 50 minutes. I'm in Congress. We don't think at all. But let me do my best. And the first is that I want to confirm to you that Lambda Chi builds lifelong friendships. This is not just a phrase, it is true. I think of my brothers that I went through Pledge class with and now associate, and through college with. After college, we went on building our busy lives. But about a decade and a half ago, we decided enough was enough. It was time to become brothers again. And so we started a tradition. Every other year, we stop what we're doing in August. We travel to Bone Lake, Wisconsin, where the mosquitoes are the size of a smart car, I'm pretty sure. We spend a weekend together, and it is remarkable. Now, all of these men have have busy lives and good lives, but in real names. But it's funny, just like at the fraternity, just like in the house, we revert to calling each other our names: Pud, Cheeves, Digger, and Fat Jack, among other names. We have, through our lives, we have had, like you, we've experienced wonderful joy with our children, with our lives. We've experienced sorrows, the suicide of a child, death of a spouse, battling cancer, all that goes with life. We've tasted success. We've all been brought to our knees at least once in our lives. But it's amazing how that friendship, how that brotherhood is there in a moment, the minute we reconnect. And any one of us will tell you every 2 years, it is a highlight of our life to get back together. Now we bring our spouses every other year, and it is wonderful as well. All that to tell, and by the way, I do then get the experience in Washington, in my office at the Capitol. One of my brothers is involved in a National Trade Association of Builders, so he's in Washington quite often. So at least once a year, I get to see a young staff person walk into my office looking puzzled, saying, "There's a gentleman named Fat Jack here to see you." So, and I do. The second point I want to make is that one of our greatest rewards is service before self. And all you need to do is look around this room to understand that. You probably didn't get a chance to read through the assembly program. If you look at the achievements of each of the members of the Grand High Zeta, and you look at the long list of achievements, it's not just remarkable in its breadth for each of them, but as you read it, you realize it's nothing about them. It's in what they've gotten. It's all what they've given to you and me at Lambda Chi. And it really is remarkable, the difference they've made through that service of a lifetime for you and me and so many men in America. I think of two gentlemen I met over the last 2 years, Billy Trio and Sergeant Eddie Wright. Billy Trio I met. Have you ever heard of the honor flights across America, where we take our World War II veterans who are dying at almost 1,000 a day these days, and we fly them up to Washington to see the memorial built in their honor, to make sure they understand just how grateful our nation is? Well, I've been fortunate to be involved in the Lone Star honor flight for Texas. We've had 5 flights. All these are amazing flights. We meet at 4 in the morning in the dark at a Target parking lot in Conroe, Texas. We load our veterans and a young escort on the bus. The community is gathered with them. We take motorcycle escorts, send them down to Bush International Airport, fly them to Washington. They go to the memorial. They lay a wreath, in our case, at the Texas Column. They see some other monuments that day, but they return, fly home the same night. They get home 2 o'clock in the morning. It is a long day, and every flight on the way back is the same. All those young escorts sleeping. All those veterans chattering away. They tell us it's one of the best days of their lives to reconnect, like us as brothers, they as veterans. But at every one of these honor flights, I meet a hero or two. In the 5th and final flight, just as they were boarding the buses, these 2 women came up to me and said, "Congressman, can we introduce you to our father? We think he's a real hero." I said, "Absolutely." So I met Mr. Billy Trio. Turns out he's from Trinity, Texas, which is a town of about 1,000 people, East Texas. Turns out Billy Trio was the youngest serving Marine in World War II. He enlisted when he was 13 years old. He had his first combat at age 14 at Guadalcanal. He was in 2 more conflicts, and he was seriously wounded at the Battle of Saipan. Spent 8 months recovering in the hospital. He finished his full tour of duty 2 weeks shy of his 17th birthday. I got to go up to Trinity to the American Legion Hall and present to Billy Trio the Purple Heart that he had earned in the Battle of Saipan, and all of us. He was surrounded by his friends, his family, veterans. We were in awe of Billy Trio, but when he took the microphone, what he said was, I'm no hero. This is what Americans do for each other. This is how we serve each other. And at the same time I was meeting Billy Trio, almost the same time, I met Sergeant Eddie Wright from Willis, Texas. In 2004, Sergeant Eddie Wright was leading a patrol in Iraq. A rocket-propelled grenade hit his vehicle. It blew off both of his arms, tore a hole in his leg, and as he's bleeding out, he still manages to call in help and saves his unit. Eddie Wright's a fighter, and even with the loss of limbs, he becomes a hand-to-hand combat instructor for the Marines. He's now out, and we were gathering together the community. You've probably heard of this group, Helping a Hero, Homes for Heroes, where the community came together to build a home for those of our warriors with special disabilities. And so the community's coming together to raise last $80,000, and we were in a room, like a reception room here at the hotel. And Sergeant Eddie Wright, good-looking kid, 30 years old, just a good man. He took the microphone in his prosthetic, and he said among his remarks, what I remember him saying is that from time to time someone will ask, gosh, if you could just go back to that day, you could avoid that RPG, if you could have your arms and your life back together, wouldn't that be something? He said, my answer always is absolutely not. I would not change a thing. He said, people have been so gracious and so grateful and so appreciative of all that I've sacrificed for. He said, and now, he said, I think I know more about the freedoms I was fighting to defend than when I was fighting for them. He said, and above all, this is how we serve each other. Lambda Chi's focus on service before self isn't just a phrase either. It influences all of us. And I know it has me as well. Being in Congress I think our approval rating is 9. And I don't know who those 9% are. But it has shaped my belief. And I think the way some in public office make mistake is they think they're here. And as they go higher in elected office, they're more and more, they go up here and the people are below here. My belief, shaped by Lambda Chi, is just the opposite. Those I serve are up here. In the organization chart in my head, I'm below them. I'm below you. And the higher I go in public office, all it means is I have more that I am responsible for. And so my job is to lift up, to lead from below, to lift up those I serve, all shaped because of Lambda Chi and because the way I was raised by my mom. And I think at the end of the day, as men, some will judge us by our careers, by the size of our house, by what kind of cool car we have. As Lambda Chi, we judge each other by a different standard. It's by how we give back. They say it was Winston Churchill who said, you make a living by what you get, you make a life by what you give. And it's that service, I think, that defines us and makes our life complete. And I guarantee you at any point in your life, when you think of the moments that make you feel the best, that you treasure the most, it is where you're giving back and helping others. And the final point I want to make is a challenge. In a sense, I want to tell you I'm envious of you all. You have a unique opportunity to leave a legacy. And I want to preface this by saying I think God has a plan for each and every one of us. I know that makes some people nervous to say it, but I really do believe it. In that path, I don't always know what that path is. At times it reminds me of the ritual. It's difficult, sometimes confusing. At points I think I've really messed it up. But at the end of the day, we surface, we go through that and discover there's a much higher purpose, something bigger than all of us, just as in ritual. And I think one of the key parts of our fraternity and what we have to leave here today doing is making sure we take this opportunity to turn men into leaders. True brothers, turning them into true leaders as well. And let me give you an example. Remember I told you about it, I referenced a guy named Digger in my fraternity. His name was Brad Gullickson. We became friends as freshmen in the house. We called him Digger because he never stopped fighting for what he believed in. I mean, he would tackle everything humbly, hard. He would get it done. He was just what you would call a worker bee. Now, to a normal person, you would see him and you say that's an average-looking guy. If you knew him more, you'd say he's got average skills. And today you'd say he's probably lived an average life. But you would be wrong. Brad Gullickson shaped our future in the fraternity in a remarkable way. In fact, the turning point was when he and a few others went to General Assembly here at Lambda Chi. At the time, I could swear it was Ann Arbor, Michigan. I didn't travel with him, but he went there. And when he came back, he was on fire and absolutely determined. And he pulled us together and he said, they have an award there at National called the Grand High Alpha Award. And we're going to win it. And here's why. And he laid out what the award was about, and he laid out what we had to do it. And we sort of got it. We were sort of thinking, well, yeah, this would be good. And he said, look, you need to understand, I'm not talking about making us a better chapter. I'm talking about making us better men. This is what we're going to accomplish. And sure enough, through leadership, through cajoling us, through encouraging us, through sometimes kicking us where we needed to be kicked, we succeeded in that award. But I've always believed Digger succeeded in a much bigger mission. He turned every one of us into better men and better leaders. And it, I think, has changed our lives in many ways. And I think that's our challenge today. As we leave here, we came here for a purpose. Let's leave here with a purpose. Let's go back and turn good guys into good leaders. Let's turn true brothers into leaders their whole life. And I absolutely know you will leave a legacy through your chapter, through lives that you can never dream of. So I want to thank you for having me here today. I want to wish you the best of luck. And brothers, I know you're going to do it. God bless.